Is there someone in your life that's going through a divorce from a narcissist? Here are the things never to say to someone going through a divorce from a narcissist. Hi, I'm Rebecca Zung, top 1% attorney and the best-selling author of the books Negotiate Like You Matter and Breaking Free, a step-by-step divorce guide, and I've helped thousands of people go from lives of drama, trauma, and chaos, dealing with their divorce, to step into lives of freedom, possibility, and purpose. And I do the same thing for you and for those of you who are supporting these people right here on this channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, you hit that notification bell, and that way you'll get notified every time I upload a brand new video. So you have a friend or a family member or somebody who is going through a divorce, and that person is dealing with a full-on narcissist. Whether it's a covert narcissist, a grandiose or overt narcissist, or a malignant narcissist. A narcissist, by any other name, is still a narcissist. And if you want to know more about the kinds of narcissists, check out my video on the 3 kinds of narcissists, where I go into much more detail about the kinds of narcissists there are and the kinds of ways that they behave when the person is in a divorce situation. So when somebody is going through a divorce from a narcissist, I can tell you from experience helping people dealing with this, that they are in hell. They're in hell being married to the person, but when they end up deciding to leave the narcissist, or maybe it's the narcissist has decided to leave them, then it's all out war. These people are in for the fight of their lives. There's no doubt about it. There's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. There's definitely a way to escape. Many millions of people have done it and have seen the better side of things and have a much better life now. So there's, of course, a reason to do it. But while they're in the middle of that divorce, they are in full-on survival mode. It is like they are in the trenches of one of the worst wars of their life. When you are dealing with a narcissist, you're either for them or you're against them. So once they realize that you're against them, then they potentially will not be getting any more narcissistic supply source, which is supply is anything that feeds a narcissist's ego, good or bad. Then that person no longer has any value to the narcissist. And even worse, that person actually becomes a liability to the narcissist. So what the narcissist will do is go to get right out in front of it. They go on an all-out war, smear campaign, intimidation tactics, using the court system as their sword, trying to line up their flying monkeys, filing false pleadings, saying false things against these people, using anything they can to use it against them. Any kind of text message they're not above or below, depending on how you look at it, manipulating text messages to use in their favor, leaving parts out, copying and pasting things. They'll do all of that. I even had a client one time whose ex-spouse or soon-to-be ex-spouse had some kind of technological abilities and was able to go in and break into this person's email and actually remove an email from their email account. It just was disappeared. It was gone. So they'll stop at nothing. That's what the person that you want to support is dealing with when they're dealing with somebody who is a narcissist in a divorce. And if you are the one who's getting ready to divorce a narcissist, or you're here supporting somebody who's getting ready to divorce a narcissist, check out my video on before leaving a narcissist. Watch this. So here are the things you should never do when you're trying to support this person. Number 1, don't say, I know how you feel. If you've not been in a relationship with a narcissist, you do not know how it feels. I can say from personal experience, I've had to deal with a couple of covert narcissists, not even as a husband, but as people close enough to me to wreak havoc and cause damage. And the psychological games that they play, the tricks that they do on your mind, the way that they make you feel, the trauma that they inflict upon you is so unique and so different and so awful that you can't say, I know how you feel, unless you've actually felt it. So instead of saying, I know how you feel, say instead, how are you feeling? Let them vent. Number 2, don't say, he or she seemed so nice. He seemed like such a nice guy. She seemed like such a great gal. Because that actually just causes more confusion and more trauma onto your friend. It doesn't help. Yes, that person really did seem nice when you were around. That's what narcissists do. They want their target, their victim, to be the only one that sees that side of them so that they feel isolated. They're trying to control that person. And so yes, they're going to seem like they were always nice. They were love bombing you too. And you were part of the scheme and you were part of the plan. So by saying that person seemed so nice, you're kind of in a way saying to your friend or your loved one, your family member, that you don't even believe them. And you have to believe them. If they are going to start to heal, and if you want to offer support that they actually feel, then you have to say, I believe you. You know, they tricked us too. They tricked the world. That will actually make the person feel so much better. Similarly, don't say, oh, they always seemed off to me. Because if you say something like that, then in some ways you might be saying to that person, I saw it, I don't know why you didn't. And then again, that person's going to feel like a failure or feel more traumatized by the fact that they didn't see it, that they did see it and they stayed anyway. So, you know, those kinds of things aren't helpful for your friend or loved one. Don't say things like, oh, I hear you, my partner drives me crazy too. You know, he leaves his socks around, or she's super messy, or she doesn't take care of the kids the way I'd like, or whatever. Because now you're just kind of communicating to this person, number one, that you're not listening to them. You're not hearing what they're having to say. And number two, you're kind of saying, even though you're saying I hear you, you're saying I don't hear you at all, because the kinds of things that you're dealing with in a normal relationship are not at all the same things that people are dealing with when they're dealing with a narcissist. I can tell you that from personal experience. You know, I would tell people about things that were going on with these couple of covert narcissists that I had to deal with. And in some ways, I just kind of got to a point where I was just not saying anything about it anymore because, you know, a lot of times these narcissists are so good at being stealth. They're so good at hiding what they do, or the kinds of little things that they do are just enough that if you tell somebody about it, the other person's going to think you're crazy, or what's the big deal? What's the problem? Or that seems so small, or that person's so nice, it must have been inadvertent. And so you just end up feeling much more isolated, and that even adds more to the trauma. So if you turn things around where you say, I hear you, I'm having the same problem with my spouse. My spouse is, you know, leaves things around the house, or doesn't call when they say they're going to be late, or something that is clearly not the same as the abuse, the serious psychological and emotional abuse that narcissists inflict on people, then they're not going to feel heard and they're not going to feel supported. Instead, say, I hear you and I see that you're suffering. How can I help? How can I support you? The next thing never to say to somebody who's divorcing a narcissist is, I would never divorce. I don't believe in divorce. Divorce is never good for the children. What are you doing to your family? You're breaking up your family. Things like that. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know the psychological abuse that's happening there. And you know, this is usually a soul decision for a person. When a person goes to leave a relationship with a narcissist, they're usually like running away from it with their hair on fire, as if they're running out of a burning building. It is survival for them. It is like, I have no other choice but to get the hell out of this thing as fast as possible. And oftentimes it takes years for a person who is a target of a narcissist to get up the strength, to get up the courage, to feel strong enough, to feel like they can actually maybe escape from this person. And so if you turn around as a loved one and say, I would never do that, and judge them for that, it's just going to cause them maybe to go back into their hole and send them back into that place of darkness and that place where abuse being inflicted upon them. So don't do that. And as far as whether or not it's good for the kids or not good for the kids, it is seriously never good for kids to be in a toxic environment and be subjected to potentially psychological and emotional abuse themselves, or witness their parent being a target of that. So definitely never say, I would never divorce. You know, instead say, I support your decision. I understand that it must have been really hard for you to come to that decision. Another thing not to say is nothing. Because sometimes people think, well, it's just better to just pretend like it's not happening. And that just makes the person who's dealing with it feel more alone, more isolated, more afraid, more traumatized. You know, they need to know that you are there. So stopping in, saying hello, how are you feeling, giving them a call, sending them a text saying, you know, how are you feeling? What can I do to support you? Let's have a conversation. How about I take you out for coffee if it's not in the middle of COVID? How about we jump on a Zoom call and I talk to you about this? So whatever you need to do to just let them know that you actually are there to listen, support, and believe them. And if you are the one who is dealing with a divorce right now and you're watching this, I want you to let me know in the comments by saying, yes, I need this. Another thing not to say is call if you need anything, because that's kind of like a cop-out in a lot of ways, and you might actually mean it, but the person is not going to call you most of the time if they need something, unless you're really, really close, unless you are, you know, the person's mother and you usually are there if they need something. Most of the time, if somebody says, call if you need anything, I know myself personally, I think, that's really nice of them, but I'm certainly never going to call them. So don't say call if you need anything. Instead, actually be specific. Say, hey, I'm going to the dry cleaner tomorrow. Do you need me to drop anything off? I can stop by your house and pick it up. Or I'm heading to the store. Do you need anything? I'm going to the grocery store now. I can pick up some things for you. Or, you know, maybe even drop off some things for them. You know, pick up one of those pre-made meals or something that you say, here you go, here's dinner. Something like that, where you actually are doing things for them instead of saying, hey, if you ever need anything, give me a call. Actually show them that you really mean it, that you really want to be supportive and you really want to be present for them, so that you can be that sounding board, that you can be that hand that is helping them while they are dealing with probably one of the worst things that they could ever go through. So if you are dealing with a narcissist and you're getting ready to negotiate with a narcissist, or your loved one is, grab my free Crush My Negotiation Prep worksheet, give it to your loved one, or if you're the one that needs it, you can use it. Several thousands of people have used it. You can get it at the link below, or you can go to winmynegotiation.com and it will be all yours for free. If you're dealing with a narcissist and you want more support, join us in our free private Facebook group. It's called Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. If you like this video, give it a like, give it a share, drop me a comment, let me know that you were here, and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, and that way you'll get notified when I upload brand new videos. I'm Rebecca Zung. I'm so glad that you stopped by my channel. Remember, today's a great day to start negotiating your best life. I'll see you in the next video.